Hello everyone, Silver here with a few things to talk about the Dev Campfire. Without any further ado, let's start with the first thing that they mentioned on the Dev Campfire, which is the Nightmare Dungeon issues that we have right now, the amount of XP on Nightmare Dungeons and how not rewarding this is. And for now, they have said that they will be addressing before Season 1 begins, which means that is from now, like this is June 18 to the beginning to the Season 1. They didn't say to us when, but they say they're coming before the start of the season, so it should be probably in 1 or 2 weeks, so we can have a moment to test that. They mentioned that they will be deploying a way for you to minimize the time that you take to go from a dungeon to another, which means they will be bringing teleports, they will be bringing portals that will open to other dungeons, so you don't have to be spend that whole time going from a waypoint to another and then running to the dungeon. Also, they mentioned that they will be giving more XP to the monsters in Nightmare Dungeons, which means that doing Nightmare Dungeons will definitely be more rewarding than doing normal open world dungeons. They also mentions, on the other hand, that unfortunately, at least for now, they don't have any intentions for bringing more density to these dungeons. They will be more likely, they're trying to go little by little and I believe they're trying to have space on the dungeons for the content that is to come. So on this side, I believe that we are getting something, we are being heard. However, I believe that the community, as a action RPG fans, would like to have more monsters to kill rather than having more XP. In some point, we can understand that this is probably related to the fact that if you have more monsters, you're getting more XP, but you're also getting more loot, way more loot. And I believe they are trying to control this for a bit. Our next point mentioned here was the Renown system. The Renown system is something that basically has been causing a lot of panic in the community lately, and the thing is that people are concerned about if it will be carried over to seasons, the renown that you have on the Eternal Realm. And their answer is no, that are not totally getting taken. They will be partially carried over. Likely you won't have to rediscover the world or either collect Lilith statues, so that would let you with some head started on the season regards to the renown points. However, this can change, like on the moment they say that the forums have gone crazy, and I believe the community will make pressure enough for them to say, okay, whatever, take this, we don't. Or they may change the values of the renowns. Like for now, we have for tier 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So it's 200, 300, 400, 500, 600. They could rebalance these values, reduce the values. They could reposition the points on the renown tree, anything like that, anything would help. And so I will be letting here a board on the side so you can see basically how much renown we will be starting with on each region and what you need to take for completing it as fast as possible. Maybe as fast as possible. Okay, they mentioned stuff related to quality of life improvements. They mentioned stuff related to the balances, and they mentioned that we're getting a big patch before the season starts. You'll be getting a new patch, likely before the season starts. They even mentioned that the possibility of bringing down the servers to apply the patch, and so we download the client and have the servers back up. It's different from what they have been doing, which is they have been performing similar iterations and applying patches and hotfixes where the servers are still live and running, and just go out, download, and or change the region, it downloads in the background and start running again. So from these patches, they bring performance improvements, bug fixes, and balance changes. Something that was mentioned, it was like this patch you'll be bringing buffs different from what we have seen so far since they released the game on the early access. The only thing that we have seen are nerfs, so for the first time we are getting buffs, which is really great. At least in my opinion, I think everyone likes buffs. I don't know if everyone needs them, but everyone likes them. So after this, they talked about inventory changes. People have been complaining a lot about the gems being covering most of the half of the inventory. Honestly, I don't know why people farm gems. Personally, I just have 2 sets of gems, and that's it, because you can unsuck it for free, the gems, and then once you get on the higher level, you don't need to be worrying about getting all the other gems. But well, people have been complaining about this, that it's taking most part of the inventory, which is fair enough because there are many levels of gems, and they plan. These are the gems that will be mainly be coming for the season 2. Which is the gem improvement system, that they will be moving these gems to the material bar, and there will be changes on the resistance system, basically. And because, as Creeper mentioned on his video, this resistance that we have now, they are not efficient, they are not worthy. Likely it's more worthy to have armor, to build armor, because part of your armor goes to your resistance, and most part, half of it, 50% of your armor reflects on resistance. So if you have enough armor, you also will be getting enough resistance. And while when you have percentage increase of resistance, that doesn't change nothing. So far, this is what we have. But for this change on resistance side, they mentioned also, in order to save the hardcore players from the doom, they will be implementing a system where they will try to balance for the disconnect. And what happens now is that when you disconnect, you come back and you're dead. And now what they're trying to do is, if they detect that you got disconnected, they will use your scroll of return. So you are basically being saved by the system. It will need from the player to have the scroll on their bags, on their stash for using it, but the system will consume in order to save you. Basically, this is it. Well, the reason they mentioned that they are not going to address this kind of implementations and improvements on the Season 1 is because the Season 1 package is almost complete. And as a developer, I understand that the life cycle of it has it's a good point, it's a good justification. Like they prepare, they have a sprint to roll and roll stuff there and book what they want to deliver. And so once this package is complete, tested and validated, we're not going to add extra miles on there to risk the delivery. So it's part of the business. I don't believe it's their fault. Like it's something that have been discovered along the way and being noticed, and they are trying to improve. They're doing a good job on their side, and the best we can do is to keep complaining, keep reporting bugs, so then can go after and address it properly and do better. Now, what I think that I missed from this, it's, well, they say that it will be a developer live stream later on, but I believe a few things that have not been addressed. Like they talked about the bug on World Boss. Like if you're on tier 4, the minimum level of the Grand Cache is 80. Which is quite a thing for people that just arrived on tier 4 and go for world bosses. They won't be able to open their caches until they get to 80. This will be coming soon. Okay, they mentioned that this is a hotfix that will be coming soon. But my issues with the game so far is that we don't have a real motivation for going through ultra high level of nightmare dungeons. Likely right now I'm on 95 and I am doing, I believe it's 48 nightmare dungeons. I'm following this rule where we go 3 levels above so we can get maximum output of XP without sacrificing our chances of surviving the dungeon. So it's been a safe road, and it's being a constant progress likely. But besides having this advantage of getting more XP for leveling, I don't feel like the nightmare dungeons are rewarding enough. Like we are on tier 4 and we still have sacred and normal drops, which for me is strange. It would be really okay if you were like, okay, we're doing low level nightmare dungeons, we just started on tier 4, so we have the rests, let's say, from sacreds and normal drops common to this tier. But as we scale through and we are almost reaching the pinnacle level, I believe that we should be filtering out these trash items and getting better rewards. Like the rewards for completing the dungeon, they are not significant at all. And remembering also that we have the item level, not only the level, because the level itself doesn't mean much on this game. I feel like I have the feeling on Destiny, which is likely our light in Destiny doesn't mean anything once we get to a certain standards. But the system that we have here is worse because we have the level, and as we go through the leveling, we have items that will be just being locked by your level. So the only reason the level 2 really exists is since the item dropped on your level. If you're level 96, 94, 92, 80, the item will drop on that level. And so then you can't reuse some of these items on your alter characters, or you can't drop an item and give it to your friend on a lower level. So, in other words, for me, the level on the item is just to prevent boosting. Now the item level, the power level, is the more important one. And the problem is that even with going for high level dungeons, we're still dropping crap item power items. So we are on 94, 96, doing tier 40 dungeons, and we are getting items with 680 of item power, which is a joke basically. I don't think that's good. I don't think that's healthy. I believe that feels quite unrewarding. That's not motivating for a player to grind higher levels. Likely there will be a point where the player will get to level 100, but there will be no motivation to do the nightmare tier 100, the sigil, the 100 sigil, because the rewards are the same so far. People mentioned that we have improvements of drop height for uniques, but I didn't feel that. Like, I have been dropping some uniques, but I feel it's more like due to the quantity, the amount of dungeons that I have been doing, rather than the improvement on the drop rarity. So I don't know, like, I don't have the data mines for that. I don't have the info to confirm how the system works behind the logs to calculate the drop rate of the quality of the items. But you have two things here, right? You have the quality, which is rare, magical, common items, unique items, and legendary items, and you have the item level. You can even drop a unique item. A unique item, it seems like it tends to be more close to a item level, higher item level, but it's not a rule as well, so it's just an impression of mine. And I believe that another thing that should be changed is that the butcher is not rewarding at all. Like, you kill the butcher appears, you kill the butcher, sometimes he glitches and he walks around, he does nothing. Sometimes he comes and he kills you, that's part of life, whatever. But the butcher is something that needs to be improved. Honestly, it needs to be improved. The butcher, when you kill it, it drops some sacred items still, it drops some white items. And again, the tier of the dungeon, it has been bothering me a lot. Like, you have been doing high tier dungeons. It's not high tier because you go to 100, but let's go medium tier dungeons, right? And you can notice that the royal class of jewels, they don't drop. You have to farm the flawless to upgrade to the royal, which is something strange. They should be dropping royal already. I don't know if it's broken or if it's intended. Also, I believe that the butcher should not be the only boss chasing you in a dungeon. Like, they could include other characters. And adding to that, I am missing a lot the capacity of having replayability to kill again Andariel, Duriel, Lilith. Lilith, we have the pinnacle boss Lilith, but Andariel, we have some echo on a side quest. But once you have done a side quest, you can't repeat it, so it's still a problem. Likely, and we feel that we should be able to kill all the other bosses again, the main bosses, like kill Astaroth, and maybe have something related to those bosses. Likely, when you finish the campaign, you have 100% drop of the Mother's Embrace unique ring from Lilith. And on the first act, right after you finish the boss fight, Vigo will drop you a legendary necklace. So you can see that it's possible for them to do this, and I believe they should do something like, because there must be a way to us for hunting items. At least some items should be more certain the way to get them, since we don't have a craft system enough like this for now. Okay, we are on the core game. The game is still really shallow for now. There's a lot of things, there's a lot of layers that they can add along the seasons. So the only thing that we can expect for now is to have the game to improve with the season, with the content, and they add more stuff from the, and they think on season mechanics that they can add to the core of the game. In that way you have a game that is more complete as a whole. I would like to add, just for closing the subject, that I also believe that we should be able to reroll our sigil stats. Like, we can make the sigils become dust, but we don't have a way to reroll the sigil stats. Sometimes I don't want to throw away the sigil, I just want to reroll the stats and see what happens. I believe that we should be able to sacrifice dust instead of crafting a new key. We should be able to reroll the stats, because imagine I like to run a specific dungeon and I want to keep rerolling this run this dungeon, but I don't want effects like code enhancement, resource burn, for instance, which is the one that I really don't like, because resource burn, the mob throw me 5 hits and I have no energy, and it's hell for me. So I believe that we should have this kind of option as well, and so we can make a stack of dungeons that we like to do and repeat. Also, I believe in talking about that, I believe that they should change, they should improve the way they store the sigils. They should separate potions from sigils, and maybe even better, allow us to stack the keys, you know. So imagine you stack the key, and when you go to open the dungeon, you select the tier of the dungeon, and I believe that would work way better in a quality of life. At least from what we have now, I believe that would work way better. And talking about also when it comes to the sigils and stacking, we all usually, at least I, a tool that I use a lot is mark as trash. So when I go to the vendor, I just one click and sell all the junk. But also, I would like to see this working for the, when it goes to, you know, salvage stuff. Like, I can mark the items, and when I right click, it will salvage all the items that I have marked as trash, which is something that is not done as on the way we have now, unfortunately. Because, like, imagine you have the items, you can only have auto salvage to rare level. You don't have, even if you go to salvage all items, it will only salvage the items that are rare in the maximum, so they don't consider salvaging legendary or unique items. Well, which I don't know why. I really don't understand, because some of the legendary items is just a rare item with an aspect, and they are trash. They are not good at all, so I just want to get rid of them and turn them into materials. And instead of this, but this work for selling stuff, and I would like to see this there too. But also, another thing that would be really, really nice is attach as favorite item. Not only, or at least instead of working with mark as trash, I have this set as favorite, and I sell all the stuff that I don't want, and the only things that will stay is my favorite items. So I believe this would work way better. And we don't have a lock system, which is really strange. I believe that we had this in Diablo 3. We had a safety locked system. So this would prevent us from accidentally selling items that we really liked it and got mixed between the other items. This happened to me at least twice so far. and is a pretty sad thing because the buyback has a limit. And usually when you rewarded the items, these items was on the first sell, and he was being the ones to be sold. And then imagine the whole stash being sold at the same time. The item goes to the limbo, so that is pretty sad. So having a favorite item would be nice, and or a lock system would be really nice. Yeah, I believe it. From what we had from the campfire, and this is what I have to say. These are my perspective, my opinion on that. Like, from all this quality of life improvements that they mentioned on the new content, I expect to see some of these things and have this addressed at some point. Likely I'll be writing posts on the forum for them to visualize that. Hope it doesn't get covered by many other hate threads, but let's see what happens next. And that's all for today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you like, please leave that like, press that like button, subscribe. But that's all for now. Thank you guys very much, and see you next time. See you.